So this is the reinstallment day, and I will be guiding you as much as I can through the whole process. So this is in the summertime, so it's extremely important to do this while it's not as hot outside. This is why I'm doing this in the evening when it's not as hot and I'm not perspiring as much, because that will affect the whole bond and you don't want to be sweating. If you have AC, that will be helpful as well. And just to show you what I usually have in my kind of repertoire, to just what I use. So I will have one plastic bag. I use this for two purposes. One is to use this to just remove some of the residue. This is really working well, especially from the lace. So doing it like this from the material, it gets glue, the glue stick here and off the lace. And also I use it just to just drop any material that I will be kind of discarding. So I have this somewhere close by. Then what I will use is some sort of, this is just, it's like a material that I cut from some old leggings that I put around my head like this, so I don't get any alcohol dripping in my face. So this is really like a tip to not have any of those really, like alcohol is can really be like even dangerous if it goes into your eyes. So that's why we are using this. So it prevents and it soaks anything that would usually go there if we put too much. Then I would have some sort of a, what's this guy's name? Trimmer, hair trimmer. This is my husband's, and you can use the guard or just use it without the guard. This would get it closer to the scalp. You could shave it, but I don't find it's necessary. I used to do that, but I don't find it's necessary because I get the stubbles like second day already, so it doesn't matter. Then I would use isopropyl alcohol. I use this bottle with the nozzle because this gives you that precision to really get into the tape or the glue, so you don't get it all over the place. This is just, you know, the thing for decorating the cakes. So, you know, the thing that you would draw on the cakes. So this is kind of my friend for like already more than a decade. Then I would use, you could use something oily remover, but I will see, I like to use the eye makeup, Too Faced eye makeup remover, because I found this to be readily available and works just as any like hair placement specific thing, so I don't have to order anything special. This works just as fine. It works great to remove the goo from the head itself, but I will see how this behaves to remove if I have anything stubborn that doesn't want to go just on its own and with a plastic bag. Then what else? I have this type of exfoliating glove that I use on my head to exfoliate the head. I use this together with like shampoo and something I use for the face, just like this is hydrating cleanser, so this is something I would use, is gentle for the head. And yeah, I would use just paper towels to be able to just put the tape down so it's not sticking everywhere. I would use just the shampoo, conditioner if you're washing the hairpiece, and I would use like all those like just some sort of bands to just, you will now see, I will just put the hair up in pieces. And that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. I will have like my Tangle teaser. This is my also friend for like more than a decade. This is perfect for hair systems, wigs, anything, because you can do it on like wet hair or dry hair. It doesn't really do damage. Okay, that's pretty much it. In the end, I have my bag where I have the tapes. So I just have a bunch of tapes. I have loads of tapes here, but I try to use the most, like the fresh ones. I try not to have them expire. And I will just use a little bit of a glue, but that's my like latest, like the last year I'm using the glue just in the very front, in front of the tape, which I will use with the toothpick. That's just kind of fine tuning. And that's it. That's it. I'm now filming, but usually if I'm not filming, I'm trying to do the whole process a bit easier. So I will just listen some podcasts or some audiobooks just to have like pairing things that you don't like with something that you like. So that's my recommendation, to make this better and easier for you. Or just blast some radio or something. Okay, let's start. Okay, so what I will do is just, usually I now don't have any bio hair, that I now remember. Usually I would split the hair from the hair system and put it in a bun, and then I would use my own bio hair in a different, like just to put it in a ponytail to do that separation. But now like everything is out. Everything is just the system hair, the wig. So I'll put this around just to not have anything really going into my eyes. And so hot these days. I will just take this, put it just in my sink to wait for me, and I'll take this guy and I will do like, I will just lean, so I'm always trying to kind of do this, so when I'm doing it, I'm always kind of parallel to the ground, so it's not pouring all over, but that it's kind of perpendicular to the nozzle, like to the alcohol. So you will go just like near the edges. And you have to really let it kind of pour into it and let it sit. I'm not sure if I can really film this correctly, but I'll try. So I want it to go kind of beneath it. And you have to be generous here, really. So you don't have to be generous because it needs enough power to release. The alcohol is like a kryptonite to the tape, and it loses power for some time before it kind of evaporates, so that's the whole thing. So you could remove this, and after a while, if you just have it sitting too long, it would evaporate and then it will again get the power back. So we're kind of doing the momentarily weakness for the tapes. That's why this is used for repositioning, so you can use this to temporarily disable the tapes, so you can position the tape before it again gets the strength back, so it wouldn't affect the bond as the oily solvent would. And you see, gently you can start peeling it off. It should feel like without any going without an issue, because you are kind of risking pulling out any hairs if you're not going slowly. So you're not snatching it. Please don't snatch it. So this is when people ask me if it affects the hair. It does if you're not careful, but I can feel the hairs beneath. It hurts if I'm doing this before it's ready to let go. This is the part where I have tape and the glue combo, and you see it's coming off. Ha, this is funny. I never removed the backing. Ha, okay. You see, it doesn't have to be perfect. Seems like I forgot this. And now you see I'm pouring this, as in some areas it will stick more, and you have to let it just sit for a while until it releases. Okay. Yes. So this is now soaking all the alcohol that was pouring down, and this is the leftover. This is the unit after a month. Jesus. Oh gosh, this also stayed, but okay. So what we have here, you will see this is now, it can either stay on the very hair system or your head. Usually I love when it stays on the system, I don't know, but it doesn't matter, like it can go both ways depending like how you can pour it and everything. Yeah, it doesn't matter. The thing is, what you see here is why it's yellow, because this is when it collects all the oil and like dirt and everything. So this is your body kind of releasing things, and that's why it's becoming gooey. Now we will do next part. This is the least fun part. I hate it, but we'll see how it goes. I will now be showing you this like this because I cannot really get everything in. So what I'm gonna do is, first I'm gonna get rid of this middle part because that's on the lace. So I will just pour more alcohol onto it, but I will try to do it like vertically, so it doesn't really get as much onto the hair shafts, so it doesn't go into the hair itself, but more like beneath the tape. Okay. And we also want to let it work, so we're not really snatching it either, because we don't want it to pull the hairs out. And this is why I'm using this paper, you see, just to discard the tips. And in this area, the plastic bag works really good. Try to use this so my fingers don't get. So I have to kind of redo the alcohol so the tape releases. You see? So it's like peeling off the tape. So I'm just using the paper to get it off. So you could use the fingers, but let's see. So I definitely left the tape for too long because it kind of disintegrates already, getting gooey, and it breaks. So this is what you're dealing with if you are kind of trading the effort of removing it and reinstalling more frequently with the just having it longer on your head. Okay, and it will probably stay sticky in some areas, but I will deal with this later. I just want to remove the tape itself. Okay, so this seems to work better. So I'm using this paper bag just to have it easier to kind of get a grip of the tape. And it feels, it's even better if I don't really use the alcohol because it softens it too much. And this way it stays in one piece. Also, don't pull it like this, but like peel it, so you don't really break the thin skin. It's like you're peeling, literally. Just do this area, the middle area. So this one is what I was talking about, like the lace is so easy to clean with this technique, like a breeze. You just use it like this and go in circle so you don't pull out anything before you get like the glue bubble, and then you just gently remove it. That's why I like the lace. have lace here. You see, it works wonderfully. It just all stays onto this. I will try this just to see how it goes. I need something more straightforward. If this works, then we have a winner. Feel this is doing its job. Now really removing the glue finally. So the stickiness is just, we will have to wash it properly to remove any oiliness. But I find it works better than that C22. This seemed to have worked really well. This is how you test things and see. You never have to stay with one way of working. I always teach you to test and try. It's just the logic. If something works as a general remover of something stubborn, then it will work here as well. Especially this is for eye makeup remover, so it needs to be really good. I will now wash the whole thing. Now one more thing, before you go into the washing, ensure you have removed all, if you had any glue in the hair, ensure to remove it, like even using that same remover, oily, to remove it down the shaft, so it's not really staying there, because this will make a mess when you will be washing now the whole thing. And I used to do that error, and then this is where you get a really rat's nest, and we don't want that. This is when the glue stays in the hair, and then we have a kind of problem. So that's why I want to just brush it off. You always wash it like this, so base side up, so the water goes through the lace and not the other way around, because you will get return hairs if you're using this the other way around. Okay, now I will wet the whole thing. So this is sulfate-free shampoo. So this is just important that it's without sulfate. And now what I do it like this, just to properly foam it. It doesn't have to be perfect. And the rest of the hairs, I just kinda do it like this, because this is lace, so everything will go through it, so it will wash it at the base. So this is how I kind of foam the whole base, and that will clean it. But don't really mess with it, just kind of squeeze it, because you don't want to tangle it too much. And then just go like this. And then you just do it like this. Until the foam goes away. kind of laser brush just from the bottom, holding it here so you're not ripping it from the base, and gently go through it. Always following it. Squeeze it. And now I will just add some conditioner. I have a color conditioner, but this is just the one I had. I like it to refresh the color. And I will use it, I will hold it like this, like here, so I don't get anything in my base. And I will just add it in this area. So I'm not going into the base at all. This is how you would use any conditioner, like just on this bottom half. You see, this one makes a mess because it's a coloring conditioner. And I will leave this be like this for a while. And now, after like 5 to 10 minutes, I will just rinse it and put it in cold water and just rinse it from the base down. At this moment you can also put on this too. So now you just squeeze it again. Just squeeze to remove excess water. And this is pretty much hairpiece prepared. Cleaned up. You can just brush it through. And put it in a towel like this, also base facing up. You wrap it lengthwise, and you can just do it like this and let it be somewhere, just rest until we do next thing. Okay, now we are finished with the hairpiece, so we are now dealing with our head. So before I had my bio hair, now I don't have to deal with that, to clean that part anymore, but we have to clean this and trim it again. What I like to do first, and some women do when they still have the goo in their head, they will already do the trimming, so you can remove everything in one go, like, and then deal with what's left there. But you can also clean the head before and then go with this. It's kind of up to you. What I also found how this goes best is just using those same like cotton pads. One of those is just the same thing, those eye makeup remover. This is like for waterproof makeup remover. Those are like two-faced, so they have those components that act really good. I find Nivea a bit better. I find this works better than those hair placements like C22 or any other solvent removers. And it's so gentle as well. And you can see how much my hair has grown since like in a month. So anybody like wondering how does the bonding affect the hair? Well, you can see it's not like this is like obviously the area that I used to bond. So this area kind of stayed a little bit more affected. I don't know if that's because I sometimes pull the hair out together with the tape, but it's not like I'm going to have my hair back. And what I'm seeing is like, I don't know if that's the poly itself, but some redness there in that area that I found the poly itching me. So I'll have to see how that goes, but I will certainly at one point test the all lace, full lace wig to be able to see what works better. I mean, I love how realistic the thin skin in the front looks. That's really like a big advantage. But lose some, win some. Okay, I kind of go to those areas that I know is sticky and has the residue, and I had it here in the middle, and I had it in the whole perimeter. And I have my own issues with psoriasis in the back, like here. And this started even like 2 years ago, but even like I was only bonding to here, and my psoriasis was just below it. So it had nothing to do with the bonding, I hope so. So now I'm trying to kind of work with it and not putting the tape over that area and let it kind of be, I don't know, to be released from any, like, so it's not covered. But ideally I would wear it till here and maybe not tape it really again, like over it. Okay. And you can see like my own hairline used to be like here, and when I started bonding I used to utilize the pyre hair there, and it was really working great, like a puzzle. But then at the time where you see it's kind of getting more than 4 fingers, you kind of start looking worse because it's like receding hairline, and then it's time to maybe recreate the hairline with the hairpiece. Okay, I think I have it pretty much. We will do it again if I find more residue. But we'll go with this. So I usually go all in. But I just left this because you will see I just had a little bit, like how I cut the wig, I cut it without the sideburns, so I'll just leave this to kind of match what I have. So just a little bit, because if I left the sideburn of the wig I would be able to utilize it. and how you can, you see how I did it myself, like I use just my other hand to feel where I feel stubbles, and it's not even, it doesn't matter if it's not perfect because you have a hairpiece going again, like to cover it all. Alternatively, you could have done this first and then go like to clean the residue, so I'll just go through it one more time just to be sure, but you can go both ways. Just to remove any glue, and the next step will be washing all of this and using that exfoliation glove to exfoliate all that skin that developed over the month. We want this nice and fresh for a new start. Now, I showed you this before in the previous videos, but what I'm doing is using exfoliation glove, and I will be washing my scalp now. So I'll be using this, what I use for my face. So this is now washed. I'm also like just wet, but this is like that scalp massage feels so good and refreshing, and it's just so good feeling. But this is now the end of preparing of the scalp. Next thing I will do, I will just dry it and then wipe with isopropyl alcohol so it's ready for the whole piece. So before I wipe the head with isopropyl alcohol, I will take the hairpiece, which has dried just enough, and I will do like a dry run with this just for positioning. And this is like my trick before I really go into taping the hairpiece. So what I will do, I will take the thing, put it on, just like to position it where it should go. Okay, I have to just look at the mirror, but what I'm doing is I'm trying to see like where the center is, where everything should sit before we even start. So if I need, I'll cut. So if needed, you see, I will cut my bio hair. So it fits like just like a puzzle. So you see, like this. Okay. So this will be it, and here. I need to remove this. This is not just fine tuning when you have any bio hair, you have to make it fit perfectly. So I do that at this stage. This is only if you're kind of making it fit with your own bio hair, so you have to make it like a puzzle. So you see, it's not overlapping, so it won't be looking like, it wouldn't have like the hairs beneath with like being like a black showing, and the bond is better from the start. So you see this. This will be okay. And what I do at this stage, I will do just the middle parting. So that is how I will know where it should sit. So I will do the middle parting, and I will do 2 pigtails. So that will be my kind of guide. A guide to install perfectly. That's like my little trick. Because that way I know this has to kind of go in the center. And everything else will follow. I mean, you could, if you need to know where you want this to sit, you could use like a eye pencil, like white eye pencil, to just dot the place so you know where you have to kind of put it. But I already know when I'm installing it where I want it, so that's fine. So this is it. It's really hot today, so I will try to kind of relax and not be as hot, just to kind of have the best bond, because if you're perspiring a lot, it will be like harder to make it bond really perfectly. So try what you need to, like, do what you need to do. If you have an air conditioner or just a fan or just drinking really ice water, something to cool off your system. That's why I like to wait for maybe colder day to do this, but this was already 30 days and it was, yeah, it needed to go. So now you see I have done this, like in the middle, and I will do 2 pigtails like this, do it like this, and this is how I will have it ready for the next step for taping. But what I will do with this one first, because I have trimmed the back and I have my trimmed area really kind of exposed here, so I cut that area from the hair system. I will recreate some baby hairs just so they're kind of covering that area. So I need to do that before I put those into the, to go into the next step. So this is just what I need to do, you know. Here, just to show you how I'm doing just back baby hairs. Sorry, I have no other way to film this and do it at the same time. So this is just parted in half, 2 pigtails, and now I just pulled first row so I can recreate to have some hairs covering this area. So I will just take it like this, and you can see already there are some, so I want more of them. I will just twist it and cut it like this. this will just sit in the back. So could take out and just thin it out or make it irregular a little bit to make it just going down the shaft, so there are more various lengths. So what I'm doing next is just final touch, and you see I have put just a dot where I mark this is where I want it to sit, not lower, not above it. So I used like this sort of pen. It's like just eyeliner pencil. What we are going to do now is really important step. So as a propyl alcohol, it's like a final touch. It goes now after we have done all like the measuring and everything, we know where everything will sit. Now I will just wipe my head and I will just leave that tiny dot there. We are preparing so there is no residue whatsoever, so that it's clean, prepared, no oil from your own skin. And if you have, it's optional at this step to use the scalp protector. So after you have done this, you could put scalp protector, just spray it and let it sit until it's dried. I now don't have it available, but what it does, it gives like a barrier between the skin, like the scalp, and the tape or any adhesive, so it will make less irritation. So maybe I could have had less redness there if I used it, and it would make the tape last longer than adhesive, really, because it will kind of prevent it from, it's like a barrier, so it prevents it from going gooey and absorb all the like the tape. So it's like a good thing to have. I'd like to try and do everything minimalistic, but scalp protector is something I would advise actually, and I'm going to order it again. So that would come after this step. Okay, and ensure you don't have any like remainings of a cotton as well. Okay. And we will do the same on the topper or the wig. So just pour it. And just wipe. You'll just wipe the perimeter so we can ensure there is nothing oily. You want it to be really wet, but it's not dry, so it doesn't stick onto the material like the fluff. Okay, so just wet it correctly so you don't get anything kind of staying on this. Now this, I will just dry this with a hair dryer a little bit, just the base, so it's not, it shouldn't be wet at like no point, because then this is especially important for the lace. You have to have a dry material, so it needs to be dried. So you don't have to have the whole piece dried, but you want to kind of blast the hair dryer onto the areas that you will be taping. So this is like a rule to be able to tape to adhere. So this is what we're going to do next. And at this point, try to really cool off, because what is happening now, it's really hot. This is like midst of the summer, and it's like the most problematic, and trying to cool off before we attempt to put it. So I will just tape it now. This is repeating the same process as I did in my previous video. So I will not film this part now again, because that's kind of tricky, but you have it, I already did it. Okay, so now we are at the step where I have taped the thing, like the piece. My battery died in the meantime, so I had to kind of deal with that. But this is how it looks like. So I have cut this type of tape in half lengthwise, so I would actually get like this thinner hair, like these thinner tape pieces, because I found that you don't need as much like width of the tape to hold as much, and this is like a hack to get more of the same amount of tapes. And I didn't really go like before on the lace, I would just overlap all the tapes, but with this material, with the thin skin, I find it sticks on its own, so I don't need to kind of worry about those things, and I want some areas to be able to have a water going through when I wash the hair, so it doesn't have to be perfect. In these areas I will put the glue, so I close off those parts, and it's much better looking, so it's not thick. And then on the back I left it without it, because this area I just want to have an access to my psoriasis, but that's for now. If I find I need this part taped and I cannot really make it with baby hairs, I will then just add like this strip. Even without seeing when it's all installed, you can easily just tape it. It's not as hard, you just put it in and remove the backing, and that's all. Okay, so I'm gonna do the installment. I use this central piece as an anchor, and this is like my trick to have it every time nailed without being so like without an anxiety attack, because I've been there. So what we're going to do is, now using the same method, you remember that we have done this middle parting, so we would know where we have the position. Okay, so this one has some like hairs, like the bangs, so I'll just put them away so they're out of the way. And I will position this. So this is the center, you see where you put the center. So this is where it becomes helpful. Okay, so this is the white dot here, maybe you don't see it, I see it. This is where it will go. Here I check like this, I check where it will sit, if I need to remove it a bit back. And you can, there is like a trick, if you don't know where your hairline should be, you do this, and where you feel your forehead is not moving, this is scalp, so your forehead is able to move and scalp is not. So that's one part to know, like the trick to know where you actually, where is your scalp starting your hairline. And I feel mine is here. Okay, just removing some annoying hairs out of the way. So it's so hot outside, you can see the hair already half dried. Okay, and this area, it's also going to be like this. So now you're happy with the whole thing. I'm always concentrated on this area because this is where everything will be in the side, and everything else can fall as it falls. Now this is like the most important step. Now we are happy with this. Now I will just hold here, switch the whole thing kind of like this. Okay, so I just want to get to this central part. Let me see how to show it. So I will remove the backing. You can go like this. Remove the backing. And now you just pull it like this. You just roll it. You roll it down, and this is the most important part done. So now we have this anchored. So it's not moving anywhere, we're happy, and now we can just move forward. This is like, you can do this with spraying a little bit of isopropyl alcohol all over the head and go all in one go with all the backings of the tape off, but I feel like this is like a chilled version. So this way I got this thing done, and now I can just do the rest easily, like without pressure. And you can do this one by one. I like to do it in sections, like I like to do the front, and then I go with other areas. Sometimes you'll have to deal with this a little bit, the backing of the tape. But usually, if you have nails, you will get used to it. Okay, so I will just do the front part first. So I will roll it down, and I just gently roll it. Okay. This is where I want it to be, in the front. Okay, so I'm happy with the front. And remember, I have a glue to add in the very front, and maybe I will do that in the morning because I'm just tired now already and just hot. Okay, now we will do this area. Just remove any hairs out of the way. did have some going in. Okay. And just roll it down. I will glue down this area or even cut it a little bit. Yeah, okay, perfect, perfecto. I will do the same on this side. Just remove any hairs out of the way. Okay, let's do this. Sometimes if you feel like the tape is kind of untaping from the base, just squeeze it and try to kind of hold the edge, and with your other finger hold the tape down while doing so. So you want to kind of split the tape, squeeze it, push it into the base, and with the other hand, with the other finger, lift the backing like this. This is what I'm doing. So I'm holding the one lip down and I'm removing this. Okay. Like this time I did a better job than last time, so it's a practice. It's always a practice, and even if it's not perfect, nobody really notices. So let's do just the rest. Let's that part down. Let's do this part. And that's it, because I'm not doing the back. And that's it for now. The only thing I have to do is just close off with a glue, but the benefit of this thin skin is that it's already laying down really well even without it. So it's just like it sticks down even if I don't put the glue, but I will do the glue, and just like the last time, which I already recorded, so that's why maybe I don't need to redo it again because it's the same process. So you kind of rinse repeat the same thing every time, so it's like a recipe. You don't reinvent the stuff, you just try maybe different tapes, different glues, but the principle is the same. The method to install, like I found this one to be like foolproof, really foolproof, and actually like overall it's kind of lasts around 2 hours to do the whole thing, but if I did it maybe more frequently, I would spend less time cleaning it, but you can also experiment with the whole thing and find like what works best for the cleanup. I found for the lace it's that paper bag, and for this I'm just experimenting because this is the first time I have thin skin, but I could do 2 things next time, which I will pretty much update you, not to go into that rabbit hole. But for now, I'm loving the thin skin in the very front because the hairline, look at the hairline, and no seepage or anything like for a month. So it stayed like this, like dry, no glue, nothing. Really good. Okay, now you just follow along with whatever routine you have. You just try not to be hot, really sweating right now. I'm going to do that as it's so hot, and I have just kind of got like cooled off, and it's always such a relief when you're done and everything is just as it should be. You find you look just as you intended. There's like this good 4-finger forehead, everything sits well, especially like in this area, which I find is like critical, and everything sits as it should, and we are free for another month. So that's the beauty of hair placement and bonding. We're now free for like few weeks, like few days to few weeks, whatever suits you, but this is the process, it's always the same. Okay, hope this helps, and rinse repeat the whole thing.